The reasons people look beneath the surface appearance of life in meaning and purpose and seek spiritual paths or deep philosophical insights are many and varied. Perhaps you're looking for something to validate your experience of life and strengthen your worldview, or maybe you're interested in ideas that challenge that experience and the accompanying introspections and meditations. You may be confused and struggling to make sense of your life and perhaps suffering from depressive thoughts and feelings of hopelessness. You may be looking for a purpose, something that makes sense of the chaos, that can pull you out of darkness. You may have studied Eastern philosophy, have knowledge of non-duality. You may want to test a strong philosophical or spiritual conviction, or perhaps you have arrived with nothing more than an open mind and a passing interest. You may not consider yourself an overt seeker, but may be open to new ways of looking at the world and your relationship to it. Whatever your reasons, they will make little difference when it comes to comprehending this message, because it's not about gaining and building upon existing concepts or comparing beliefs and faiths, nor is it about replacing negative thoughts with positive ones. It is not a self-help message with positive affirmations designed to rescue from mental anguish, because there is no long-term benefit in adding to or building upon a self that is illusionary. Any positive gains would be short-lived and you would soon return to suffering, seeking and searching. Nor is it about acquiring knowledge. Therefore, understanding Western philosophy, Eastern spirituality or religious scripture will be no more advantageous than knowledge of the periodic table or the Greek alphabet. We are starting from a clean slate. Regardless of the motives that have brought you here, as you start to consider the implications of this message, that who you believe you are is an illusion, your initial response will be likely one of disbelief and incredulity. In fact, you will probably feel threatened and under attack. Rumi points out, when someone beats a rug, the blows are not against the rug, but against the dust in it. In order to continue, you will need to fight your knee-jerk reaction to the blows, which will not be easy, because every fibre of your being will want to perpetuate your story. Just as the layers of dust built up over the years dull the brightness of the weave, so your conditioned mind builds up layers of identity, obscuring the stillness beneath. This is not about revealing a truth. Rather, it is about exposing the illusionary self as false. If successful, there are no words for what happens thereafter. How can the unknowable be approached? How can it be written or talked about? How can the infinite be expressed by the finite? How can the eternal and the formless be comprehended in a world of impermanence and forms? The unknowable stillness at the core of your being can only be pointed to indirectly, and therefore these videos approach the task from various angles. In pragmatic terms, I am exerting two fundamental issues. One, that we are the unknowable absolute, the impersonal I that comes before the personal I am. And two, we have a delusional understanding of our relationship to the world around us, created by our thoughts. As mentioned, the first can only be pointed to indirectly. However, the second, our delusional perspectives, can be examined by focusing on our common assumptions about the world around us and how we interact with it, including our relationships with other people. These videos explore common themes such as time, space, free will and consciousness, and show how these concepts create and sustain the illusion of a self, of yourself. I'm pointing out how these beliefs are kept alive by our thinking, which builds and sustains our story, our self-image. A story that is unreal and, for the most part, unhelpful. I'm offering a way to break the stranglehold of thought, expose the illusionary self, and bring you back to the present moment. In this way, you may begin to sense a deeper, non-personal awareness, the I before I am. This awareness can be glimpsed in those rare and uninvited moments of so-called heightened consciousness or heightened awareness that sometimes occur in a flash, but can not be experienced or relived through memory. These moments may occur at times of great personal drama, physical exertion, quiet contemplation, or even while brushing your teeth. It matters not. The common factor is that for a fleeting instant, and through no cultivated effort, an alternative state takes over, a sort of peace and clarity that has nothing to do with our individual stories, and for a moment our suffering ends. In other words, because there is no personal I having an experience, the moment cannot be part of our experiencing structure, and we do not attach to it. Then we quickly return to everyday consciousness, wanting to understand and trying to take ownership of what we just experienced. We want to make it part of our story. However, this impersonal awareness cannot be contextualized within our frame of reference. It can only live when we are absent. This clarity exists all the time beneath the story of you. These brief glimpses cannot be expressed without destroying their essence, and so all I can do is try to point to this ground of being indirectly through analogies and metaphors. It is not knowledge that can be understood and passed on. It is more akin to an ever-present and vaguely familiar feeling that infuses every experience, being both of the experience and other than the experience, both real and unreal. All that can be hoped for is that the absolute lying behind everything, including the illusion of the self, might become apparent to no one. By which I mean become apparent not in a dualistic subject-object sense, as in I am aware of this or I know this, but an impersonal, indescribable beingness that is as fundamental and as effortless as breathing.